Now or Never Dating, Role A with Troy and Sarah Bravenboer. Take one and...
Hey, my name's Troy Bravenboer.
And I'm Sarah Bravenboer.
And we've been married for almost 12 years.
On November 19th.
How did y'all meet?
Y'all. You want to say it?
At a water fountain, yeah, we were in church.
That was before that.
Okay, so our first interaction was when I gave you a seat at church.
Yes.
So I was a single guy traveling with a ministry, and we were serving actually the church that Sarah's at, which was Calvary Cathedral, which is actually now Mercy Culture. And I remember her walking in. I kind of was checking her out, and I was an usher, and I needed to get her. I needed to get seats, and I was like, oh, how many seats do you need? And that was my sly way of figuring out, like, hey, is she by herself, or does she have a date with her? And she's like, oh, I only need one. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, and then the story goes that I walked her to the seat that she was gonna sit in anyway, since it was within the youth section, and she fell in love with me ever since.
I was humoring you.
Oh, is that what it was?
But it worked, because, yeah. I do remember, though, that when he sat me on my seat, like, he left an impression on me, and so we met again the next day, right before we went to an outreach, and then that's when we met at the water fountain.
Yes.
Yes, but he didn't come up to me though. I had to be the one to come up to him, and I asked him about Bible school, the Bible school that he was attending, and then
I just slid in, like, hey, if you got any questions, give me your phone number, I'll text you.
And it worked. It worked.
Here we are. 15 years-ish later.
He literally texted me as soon as I got outside the church, so.
Yep. Cool. You want to read this one?
Sure. What was your first impression of each other? Honestly, I kind of thought you were a little annoying because I have more of like a chill personality, more not A-type. And I remember just hearing you make comments in church as you were ushering whenever you were in town, and you were just a lot more loud than what I was used to. So yeah, you were a little annoying, but I was actually strangely attracted to you because of that, because it was such an opposite personality from me. So, yeah.
I just thought, wow, she's perfect.
No. No.
Absolutely perfect. Not one flaw.
It's true though.
When did you know you found the one?
Go ahead. When did you know?
No, you tell your story.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Troy was actually ended up being my first boyfriend ever and my first kiss. So before that, I was very, very cautious about who I was even really befriending and who I was associating myself with. So I think the more I got to know him, probably like a few months in, I actually felt a peace in my heart that you were the one. And I remember praying about it, and I felt like this was the direction the Lord was leading me. But everything in the natural did not look like it, because even after I ended up going to Bible school and we were there on the same campus, this is after we started a friendship, he wouldn't talk to me. So it's like, okay, do I follow the peace that's in my heart and follow the word of the Lord? Or do I look at what's happening in the natural? And he was like totally giving me the cold shoulder. But
it's true.
It is true.
Well, the thing was, Sarah never had a boyfriend before, and she was like very adamant, like as we were flirting, like, hey, I only want to, be a girlfriend and like marry that guy. So I'm like, man, if I ask her to be my girlfriend, I'm essentially proposing to her, like there's like no middle ground here. And that was pretty intense for me, that was pretty intense. So
and looking back on it now, that definitely wasn't the right thing to do. Like, as you're trying to form a relationship with somebody, get to know somebody, I should have been like, okay, kind of like hide that in my heart and pray about it, and not like put all this heavy pressure on him, like he was saying, because then it's like, oh, I'm essentially proposing to you at this point if I ask you out for coffee.
So then for me, actually she was being really sweet to me the other day. I'm like, what's up, babe? And she's like, oh, I just found my list of my husband things that you needed to have. And, it was a 52-point list, which I exceeding and abundantly met every single one of
Yes, you did.
except for the fact I can't really sing or play music. That was the only one. But yeah, so I mean, for me, I remember I was doing sales that summer and I was really attracted to her, but like didn't really know how it was how it was all gonna go down. How it was all gonna go down, and I was like, all right, is this the right thing? Is this not the right thing? And I just remember praying and being like, all right, I feel good about this. And then when I came back to Florida, because I was doing some summer sales, she was anti. And it was actually like her being anti that I was like, totally the one, you know, because I'm like, if God's gonna do it, it's gotta be a miracle, right? Like, this is perfect, because it would have almost been like too easy beforehand. She was like too ready to get married, you know? And now that she was like totally anti, she had an entourage, like I couldn't even talk to her. Like I had to like pass through her entourage to even like get a communication, you know? I had one of her friends, this Russian girl, was like, if you want to speak to my friend again. And I was like, whoa. But no, seriously, that's actually how it was, you know? She gave me like this bullet. She's like, I'm gonna throw you in the river if you hurt her.
Basically.
Not lying. So thanks, Jan, I appreciate you. So yeah, so it was actually like in that moment that I'm like, cool, I know God is in this. Because in the world, they don't think that way. They think like, oh, it's more difficult, it's more challenging. But it was actually in the impossibility of it that I actually knew that it was God that was in it. So it just like, it gave me this really raw sense of like confidence in God that he was going to do it.
Yeah. And the Lord just had to remind me of the word that he spoke to me in the beginning about Troy, that even though it didn't happen the way that I thought it should have happened, how I thought God was going to move, he was just showing me his faithfulness and to trust him throughout that whole situation. Because even when he started to pursue me, I wanted nothing to do with him, because I'm like, well, you totally left me dangling by a string. And then the Lord like just really did a work in my heart. Like, you need to just shut your mind off, you need to forgive, and you need to remember the word that I already spoke to you about. So, and then you asked me to be your girlfriend, I think like 3 times.
Did I?
Yeah. And then I finally said yes on New Year's Eve.
This is around Christmas time here in Fort Worth.
Was it New Year's? Yeah, it was in Fort Worth. We were on a
Horse-drawn carriage.
It was very romantic.
I legit got her a like girlfriend ring, because
It's a
again,
promise ring.
if I'm gonna be like, I knew it was like a proposal, like it was like a mini proposal straight up, you know. Oh yeah, it was intense.
But you knew I was your wife then.
Yeah, I knew you were my wife, that's for sure. So that's how we knew we were the ones. All right, bonus question.
Okay. Oh.
You can read it.
Okay. What is the most unexpected thing you learned about your spouse? Unexpected. Huh. You go first.
The most unexpected thing I learned about my spouse. I would have to say it's like how perfectly our opposites like complement each other. And like, I think that, no, you don't get to agree with me. This is my answer. So you have to come up with.
I can agree.
No, you can't. You have to come up with your own. You can agree, but you have to come up with your own unique answer to this. So I think it's like, you have your ideas of who you think you want to marry and the personality and all these different types of things. And it's like God sees the end from the beginning, and he not only knows what spouse that you need, but he also knows like the partner that you need to be a parent to your kids. So God knows like the mother that your kids need, and like he knew that like we are our kids, like he knew that to create Max he needed this man and this woman. To create our daughters he needed this man and he needed this woman. And it was like, and to help them become the man and the women of God that they're becoming, like it literally had to be like, it couldn't have been 2 other people, you know? So it's like, you know that like when you're fulfilling the plan of God for your life, it's like, it's more than just who you like or who you're attracted to. It's like, what's the will of God? You know, what does God really want? You know? So I think that the most unexpected thing was like how perfectly our opposites like fit with each other, not just for personalities. I mean, even down to like, my in-laws are awesome. Like people complain about their in-laws. Like I brag about it. I was literally bragging about them 20 minutes ago with another couple about like how I have the best in-laws. Like they're such servants to the family, and it's such a good fit to who we are. So I would say that's the most unexpected thing, of like how well that, as us being opposites, not just like how it works in our relationship dynamic, but even like in our family dynamic and like the plan of God, you know, for our lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
You got it, babe. Your turn now. You got to come up with
Okay.
something.
I was gonna say mainly, like I knew you were gonna be a good dad, but especially after we had our girls, I saw a whole new side to you that I didn't really see before.
I'm a good dad.
That is one thing we can
I
definitely
love my
say and be
kids, yeah.
confident in, is that he's such an amazing dad, and just the way that I really see you love your girls. That could really, sorry if I'm gonna cry, but it really actually showed me a new depth of the love of God and what he had for me, and even how I viewed the Father. And so just to see how the girls, just like every time he comes in, our girls will just light up.
Daddy!
And run to
I mean, they
him.
literally run across the house. All my kids, like when I
Yes.
get home, they
and
just
just the way he scoops him up in his arms, and just to see how that's ingrained into even little girls as so young, as even as young as my little 2-year-old, just how she just craves her dad's affection, her dad's
Yeah.
love, and just to see you so willing to give that, like with no reservation. You're okay to be goofy and just like outside of yourself, just to make them laugh and do crazy things. He does donkey rides, he throws them in the air, spins them around, and just to see like that, like that's some precious memories that they will cherish forever and that I'll always remember. So I appreciate that about you for sure.
yeah. Love you, babe.
Love you.
Cool. So that's us.
Oh, we got a kiss.
Cut.